Bad boys. Bad boys. What you gonna do when they come for you? This was probably the best Bad Boys I've seen so far. They've had some good ones. The very first one, of course, was really good, but this one was real solid. This is how you do a sequel. Take a little bit of the previous movie or movies, sprinkle it, a little bit of that into the pot, just so people remember. Oh yeah, this. Yeah, right. That guy. Yeah, he knew these guys. Those guys, they're back. Oh, that's interesting. You got to have a little bit of that. You need solid writing and a solid story. A lot of times when you see a sequel or a prequel, it's not solid. The writing, it's a money grab. You know, this movie was done because these guys wanted to do this movie. It was good. It was solid, you know, in my humble opinion. I mean, it closed. A lot of movies you'll see, they have open-ended questions. You know, well, why was that guy with those guys? They never explained that. Well, who had the gun? The shot, I heard the shot. They never said who had the gun. There's things that happen that make you, question what's going on. They closed a lot of things here. Marcus dating, Mike dating Marcus's sister. They mentioned it. They close it. The captain getting shot and everything. They go back to that because that dude had a family. They bring up his family. There's a lot of things that get closed. I mean, honestly, I got a lot of questions. There's a scene in the movie where they're at a closed down alligator farm. Now, to be completely honest, they're in Florida, and there's Alligator Park. There's a lot of alligator parks in Florida. I lived in Florida for many, many, many years, and there's alligators everywhere. It would not be uncommon to walk outside your house and there's an alligator in your front lawn. It doesn't happen every day. It doesn't happen every month, but it happens. If you find a body of water, there's a good chance, if it's a lake or something, there's a good chance there's an alligator in there. So there's an abandoned alligator park. When they abandoned it, for some reason, they didn't take the alligators out. So there's just alligators. There's like alligators all over the place. And there's a gigantic albino alligator, 16 foot long. And believe me, that's huge. But that is not super big, for the American alligator. They get a lot bigger than that. But there's a 16 foot one in there, in the water, and people are just diving in the water. And I'm like, it's an abandoned alligator park, man. What are you doing in the water? And just with me saying this, you know what happened in that water to at least one person. You don't get in the water with alligators, man. So in this show, which I don't think this is the finality, depending on perhaps Martin's health. He said recently that leave him alone. He's not in bad health. He appears to be. I'm not a doctor, but just on appearances. So this, give or take what that may or may not be, this is probably not the last movie. Something that I noticed almost immediately, Teresa, Martin's character's wife, Marcus's wife, is a different person now. It's Tasha Smith. Tasha Smith, incredible actress. She's playing Marcus's wife now. Okay. I may have said this before. I was in the Marine Corps, and there is a Reggie. Reggie joined the Marine Corps, I think in the last movie. I think it was the last movie he joined the Marine Corps. It might have been the one before that, but I think it was the last movie he joined. And just a few years later, he's a master sergeant. He's like E9. He's as high as you can go before you become officer or warrant officer. And I'm thinking to myself, how do you do that? What? That's not how that works. In a couple of years, you get that. Now that takes time, but it's a movie. You got to suspend belief, and I dug that because they let him represent the Marine Corps in there in a really cool way. So that was cool. I don't want to give it away because it's early and probably a lot of people haven't seen this movie yet, but he represents in a really cool way. Cool for me, and not cool for everybody who's in the movie, but it was cool for me. So Marcus is suffering from health problems, and Mike is also. I mean, I guess they're both floating around 60 in real life, so their characters in the movie is probably right in their fifth. There's a time when somebody mentioned when Will Smith is talking to someone and he tells them, at that point in my life, I still had a lot of growing up to do. And somebody responds, you were 50. So what he would consider years ago, he was still 50 years old. So they got to be floating around, 55, 60, something like that in the show. And I remember in the previous show, Martin tells Will Smith, we have more years behind us than ahead of us. So that's letting the audience know that they are starting to move along in life. They're getting a little older. They'll probably end up being the captain or something. And but they both are having health problems. And you saw the previews. In the previews, it says somebody is trying to tie the captain to the cartel. And to be honest, they never really said why they were doing that. The cartel, it's not even really the cartel. It's just some dudes trying to do that and blame the cartel. Well, they're trying to connect the cartel with the captain. They're trying to put them together. And he never says, I'm doing this so, to get back at the cartel, or I'm doing this because I've always hated the captain. They never say. This dude is just doing it for whatever reason. And if you linger on that, you'll have a ton of other questions. But if you just say, well, I guess that's where the gunfighting, hip tossing, punching in the face, chair throwing action, alligator tossed in action is coming from, that dude wants to tie these two organizations together, the captain and the cartel, for whatever. They do say that the captain was put on a hit list. He got greenlit, meaning that the cartel wanted him dead. I really wish they would have explained that more. There was enough action and stuff going in there. They didn't need to explain it. But I said before, this was a really good movie, especially in the line of movies that they've done. They had a couple of things that I don't think needed to be in the movie. It was interesting, but it didn't need to be in there. Two people are dating that was in a previous movie. They didn't want anybody to know, but they're dating, and they just say, oh, we didn't want anybody to know we're dating. And it didn't connect to anything. I would have just been like, okay. It didn't connect to anything. It wasn't like we're dating, and we know that she's related to you, and this is an issue. It was nothing. It was just like, oh, we didn't want people to know we're dating. And then like a minute and a half later, they just moved past it. And that was it. And then there's another thing where Will Smith's son, Armando, they're trying to get the audience to dig him. They want the audience to like Armando. And he just says a really Richard thing. Wait a minute. It's not Richard. What's that name for Richard? It's smaller. You can use it. It starts with a D. I don't remember, but you probably remember. He says this real Richard thing. You know, the guy's talking to his girl and he says, oh, she's fine now. And he goes, she sure is. And the guy said, what'd you say? 30 seconds past that, it's never mentioned again. I don't know why that happened. I'm thinking, okay, is there going to be friction between the two guys? Nope. Is he going to hook up with the girl because she actually thinks he's good looking too? Nope. He just said it for some reason, and everybody just pushed past it. Tiffany Haddish is in this movie for about 3 minutes, 4 minutes maybe, something like that. And I don't think they needed that either. There was a thing going on that she was trying to perpetuate, and they didn't need her in the movie to do that. It was, Will Smith, Martin Lawrence, Tiffany Haddish was having some problems getting gigs, apparently. I don't know that woman, but that's what she said on her social media thing. So maybe they were just tossing her a bone and letting her in the movie to do some stuff. I don't know, but she's in the movie for like maybe 6 minutes at tops. Probably not that long. And she helps along a part of the story that was already in motion. It would be like if they were in a car chase. I don't want to give it away. But it was like they were in a car chase, let's just say, and she pulled up next to the car and was like, you guys better hurry up, there's people behind you. And then she drove away. It would have been that insignificant. At that moment in the movie, her role meant something at that moment. But it was to move along a narrative that was already in motion. It was moving along. Tiffany Haddish showed up. She pushed it along a little bit, and then it continued to move along. She didn't really need to be there. I didn't understand that. But they need to save Armando because he's got some information that they need to help the captain. One of the captain's relatives is in the police force, and they want Armando dead. They say, if I see him, that dude is dead. I'm gonna put him down. They killed this person's father. It's a child of the captain that happens to be an adult and is in the police force. And I'm like, okay, well, they're definitely going to shoot Armando because they meant that. And it's Will Smith's son, so you got to figure he's going to try to protect his son. The police are going to try to shoot his son. Then you got the bad guys that want Will Smith shot and Armando because he could tell on them. And to try to muddy the waters, they put a $5 million bounty on Will and Martin's head. And so all of the local gangs, which gives an opportunity for them to bring back the Jamaicans and different gangs that they fought in other movies. It's pretty good. They have a scene, also another throwback. They have a scene because they have like 3 different scenes in a corner store. And here, it's Florida. Florida's got corner stores on every corner. Everybody's got a grocery store or little convenience stores. And they have a scene in it. It's pretty funny. It's how the movie starts, and the movie starts with that scene, and I'm like, I think I'm gonna like this. And it was good. It was really good. It was well thought out. It was well executed. It was well written. It was well acted. They had a ton of action. Not so much action that it was taken away from the scenes, but a ton of action. It was really good. And they left a lot of stuff open-ended, so if they wanted to, they could come back and make another movie. I want to tell you about this movie so bad. I'm considering doing a spoiler review, but this was a good movie. Will Smith is good in this. He looks smaller. He looked 15, 20 pounds smaller than he has before. I mean, like I said, he's got to be floating around 60 now. But he's still in good shape, but he was bigger in previous movies. Martin is doing a lot of jumping and flipping and all kinds of stuff in the movie, but if you pay close attention, you could tell that, you know, Martin takes a look, and then a guy wearing Martin's suit is doing all kinds of stuff. It's probably not him running and jumping all over the place. With Will Smith, you can see him, and the camera's right up in his face as he's jumping over stuff and throwing people around. They worked around Martin's physical limitations, and they made it work. You know, they made it work. Martin's like 3 foot tall or something like that, and they made him throwing guys around and beating people up and shooting people and all kinds of jumping through the air and drop kicking people. It was a good movie. It had a lot of action. There was one time this thing happens in the air, and I'm like, how are they gonna survive that? I guess they're gonna have to fly. They're gonna have to learn to fly, but they survive it. And the way it happens, it doesn't look hokey. It doesn't look like, you know, I mean, come on, it's a movie, so, you know, it was a little hokey, but it didn't look far-fetched. I really enjoyed this movie. In fact, I enjoyed this movie so much that I would give Bad Boys, Ride or Die, 8 bags of popcorn. It's almost a 9. 8 bags of popcorn. Because that's what I got to say about that. More importantly, what do you think about that? Now you've seen the video, let's talk about it some more in the comments. And as always, if you like the video, if you like the content, subscribe. And then like.
Popcorn passport. Get your popcorn passport.